All right. Hello, friends. Thank you all for coming out in person to this bass workshop by Major Music's very own Gideon Yogan, featuring. Oh, it's so nice to hear claps in person.
Finally.
Featuring Jared Cheow on drums. And to our online friends, thank you for tuning in. We hope that you guys will be able to learn a thing or two or take away, important and useful information and enlightening information about the bass, and of course, learn more about Gideon as a musician as well as a person, because very good people and very, very amazing musicians. So, all right. So, before we get into today's event, before we kickstart today's event, a little bit of housekeeping to do. So, I'd like to give a quick word of thanks to our sponsors for today. Of course, Major Music, the organizer for sponsoring, for arranging this whole thing, for organizing this whole thing, from sound to lights to camera, everything. Sweetie Malaysia for supplying equipment, for supporting this event. Bistro Monologue for the beautiful venue that you see here today, and as well as, Music Nation. Hello, my name is Joe, and I'm from Music Nation, and I'm hosting this thing. All right, so are you guys ready?
Yep.
All right, take it away, Gideon and Jared.
Right. So, hi, I'm Gideon, by the way. And this is Jared. So we're gonna kickstart with the workshop with a song. So hopefully, we'll see where this goes, lah. Ready, Jared? Yeah. Right. Thank you.
How does it feel to play live again
Wow.
in front of people after so long?
It's been a while. I mean, the first time was yesterday, actually. Yeah, we had a gig in Publica. So that was actually the first time after so long. I mean, playing in front of a live audience, and this is the second time. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, so I think let's kickstart with a little bit of your background, a little bit about your music journey, and then we'll get into the more technical and groovy stuff after this, and then hopefully with audience participation. Okay, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bit quiet, are you guys? But it's okay. We'll warm you guys up. Okay, so before we get into the whole the basic question of why did you get into music career? Da 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 da. I want to ask, how do you feel when you're playing music, especially at this stage that you're playing now? Can you give a comparison from when you first started playing versus now, and how has the feeling changed?
Well, now I mean, obviously it's a different level, I would say, or a different scene when I first started, and then now, now compared to last time, now it's like I'm starting to play with a lot of people, and as a musician, as a bass player, honestly, when I first started, it didn't actually occur to my mind that wow, I'll be playing with so many different kind of musicians and so many different kind of bands with genre and all that. So I always thought, in the beginning, okay, I just, want to play bass and all that, and because I love the idea of the bass as the instrument. Yeah, so starting back when I think when I was 8, yeah, I started learning the bass, not professionally, just taking the bass and.
But I'm very
yeah.
curious. You're one of the odd ones out, huh? Like most kids would be either guitar or piano, So why the bass specifically? Is it something about the sound, or is it, what is
Yeah.
it about?
I mean, I actually started learning the drums in the beginning when I was 8. Yeah, actually, yeah. So
were one of those
yeah,
kids
yeah,
lah.
one. I'm one of those kids lah. If you were to say that, yeah. Drums and then guitar. Bass was the last, but in that year, because I just wanted to try something new lah, just like same instrument, and okay lah, fine lah. I love the idea of music. I love the idea of music. Even when I was young, I started off in church. So looking back at all the people last time that that actually play all those otais, in church, then I'm like, wow, what is that? What is this? So I started learning, and yeah. So why bass? I don't know. I just felt it's a cool instrument.
It chose you.
Yeah, I guess lah. I guess it chose me lah. I guess
Gideon, come play me.
Yeah, correct.
Not a lot of strings, only 4 strings, can handle that. Yeah.
I mean, like I said earlier, I love music. After a while, people told me that actually bass suits you lah. It's like, oh, okay lah, try lah, venture
Got the
lah.
bass vibe.
Something like that lah, bass vibe. Yeah, so. And I started venturing more into bass, just learning from people, from church and all that.
So no conventional music classes to begin with?
No.
It was just
So
all in church?
Yeah, all in church, and it's all by ear. I started playing everything by ear. So I remember this one incident where I was starting off, right? I mean, I was small at that time, and bass was so big. And I was just just playing. And then I remember someone was playing something. It was a piano, right? Piano lah. And then I was just following it. And I was like, wow, it sounds right, huh? Okay lah, play lah. Just play. Don't know what note I was pressing, So it's like, okay, just play, And then the next day I went to my leader. I told her, hey, actually I can play the bass, like suddenly lah. Actually I can play the bass, Just right after playing that, I can play the bass. And then she was like, oh, really, yeah? Oh, okay. Then,
show me.
Yeah. Then she was like, I think, yeah, can next week you come and play lah. We got practice this Saturday. Oh, okay. So I took the church bass, went for practice. Then I played. Then I started playing. Just, whacking, like this, don't know what lah. And then when the whole band came together, and then we started playing, and then suddenly I like blank for a while. I was blank for a while because I knew what I mean. I listen. I know that I how to say like I know what I'm playing, but I don't know what note I'm pressing. So some of it like basically I was playing a guessing game lah, right? So it was a guessing
Pakai
game.
hantam lah.
Pakai hantam only lah. So like when he's right, I was like, oh, right, nice. But suddenly wrong, change chord, like,
What is this?
What note is this, So, and then I started screwing up a lot at that time. And then a leader came to me, and she was like, you said you can play. I was like, oh, I just only learned. And then I remember that keyboard player actually came to me and said, actually, you hit certain notes and you can actually play according to the beat. You didn't run away. So I think you can play by ear. Oh, okay.
What is that?
What is that, And then throughout the years, months and years, then I realized, oh, okay, I can actually play by ear. So I started listening to a lot of things. A lot of things. I listened to what the pianist is playing and what the drummer is playing. And that is where I begin my journey as a musician because I could actually hear and also see, and I can adapt to my playing.
And that is so cool because like you were thrown into a situation where you have to actively start listening to the band and learn on the spot instead of comparing it with my own personal music education. It was like you're thrown into a class. Okay, this is your instrument. Read and then play. That kind of thing. So in a sense, I think that is a very refreshing but also very useful starting point because it's not like in a classroom anymore. You are in a real life situation and you have to play with musicians, right? So if it's wrong, memang wrong lah. Yeah, but if it's right, exactly. So, and how old were you when you were when you started playing with your church band?
I think it was 9.
9 years old. Can you guys imagine 9-year-old Gideon with the big bass and like just trying to hit right notes? Yeah.
And some more last time, the action all very, very high up there. Like when you whack also, you're like, oh, you really have to really dig the string, like at that time.
Right. So, fast forward a little bit. Why did you decide to pursue music?
Okay. After learning all this. After so many years, I started listening to, like I said, started listening to songs and all that. And I was like, wow, actually, I can play music lah, But it's just at one point it became a passion already. In music, it's like, okay, I want to do this. I want to pursue music, but it came a bit later. I remember when I was 15. I started off like, okay, I want to do music already. When I was 15, I started practicing and watching videos and
playing with friends.
Playing with friends in school, correct. Jamming, club music last time in school. Go inside club music, play and all that, right? I've always wanted to do that. Like something just tells me that, okay, I think music really suits you and this is what I want to do. So I just started picking up the bass and started learning more stuff. And also another thing that actually drive me to play music even more, basically in church lah, where I started playing a lot. So that I had people who really motivate me to actually pursue in music, so
and encourage you to do it.
Yeah.
And did they give you advice on the way?
Yeah, they did actually. They did. They say like okay, you have to pursue music. Whatever it is. I mean, music is not something that a lot of people can do. Right. So and also financial wise, I think it's
like not so stable.
That's another topic also lah. Because I had struggles and obstacles starting off playing music. you will have people around you saying that, you know, like, oh, music okay, how can cari makan
That's the most
Yeah,
important
that's the
question,
most
isn't it?
important question all us musicians will go through.
Especially last
Maybe
year.
some not lah.
But especially last year, you know, when the pandemic
Yeah.
hit. As us as musicians, how can we adapt and change our lifestyle and our way of making a living already, isn't it? So let me venture back into, okay, you've decided that you want to do music. Music is your passion at the age of 15. So, music education.
Music education.
How was that like for you?
Right. So I didn't have any formal training since I started.
So no reading
No
notes.
reading notes,
No.
no nothing. It was just like, oh, like, you know, C, G. And then, where's C? Yeah? Okay, C is here. You know, kind of thing. Oh, where's G or G? Yeah, or A. You know, the kind of stuff. So, no formal training until I've decided to pursue music as an education, like a formal, like diploma, a degree. I remember I started doing diploma in Aswara, right? So before entering college, I realized maybe I need to do some ABRSM theory lah, just to learn lah, you know, just to kickstart, you know, because you never
Get
know.
a head start before going to college, right?
Correct.
Music college,
Yeah. Because a lot, I had a lot of friends who like recommended, hey, you know, you should go Aswara, you know, if you want to do a degree or diploma, you should go. I said, okay, yeah. So I applied. Then when I applied, then I was like, okay, I got no formal music education or, you know, any theory or practical and grade, you know, until grade 8, you know what. Then I just decided, like, I think 3 months before going for audition, I just did my grade 5. Just
like that.
Yeah, so I remember going to the school, and then I was learning, and then the teacher was like, so do you know this note? Kinda, but not really. Okay, play. Okay, yeah, you can play. Okay, fine. Grade 1, you're out. Kautim. Okay, grade 2. Okay, grade 3. So I did grade 4 and grade 5, and I just passed. So
And then you went into college.
Then I went to college. Yeah.
How was the? We'll get into the next section, which is, you know, bass as a primary instrument, very soon. But just a quick thing to wrap up. Your personal music education, like, what is the biggest takeaway, and what is something that you wish somebody told you before going into music school?
I wish people would say, like, look, music is, before going to college, you know, you just have to prepare yourself, because there are a lot of things you got to learn. There are a lot of things you got to learn, especially going into music colleges here. There are a lot of things. I wish people would have prep me to actually, like, okay, what is to come. Because, like I said, I had people who recommended me, they were from that college. Yeah, so they were like, oh, just go lah, good what, nice. So I said, okay lah, go lah. You know, but I wish they would have.
Not knowing the amount of things. Some things are necessary, but a lot of unnecessary things that you have to do as well.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of things. And then when I went to college, when I start my first time, I was like, wow, too many things. It's like, I thought music is just like, okay lah, bass only ma, right? Just play right? But yeah, there are a lot of things. That really opened my mind so much. Yeah, when I started going to college.
So what is the biggest takeaway that you had from school?
Oh, well, diploma. Diploma. I think that's my biggest thing lah, you know. And also experience in many kind of music. Because when I was in Aswara, I was also learning traditional stuff. Yeah. So a lot of, you know, we Malaysia have a lot of, you know, like, we are diverse with a lot of things, a lot of culture and stuff. So in the span of 3 years, I started, I actually learned something. I learned a lot about culture and stuff and all that, like how to play, even other instruments, how to play the gamelan and a lot of things. And that really opened.
You play the gamelan.
Yeah, sort of lah, just try lah. Yeah, and at that time, so it slowly broadened my mind, broadened my vocabulary in terms of playing the bass. Then after a while, I was like, hey, I can actually try this on the bass. I can actually try this on the bass. I can do this on the bass. So that's where it really expanded my vocabulary. And also learning with people. In terms of, like junior, senior, you get to learn a lot from the seniors and all that. So my first sem, I was already going out to like my, seniors and all that. Hey, how you do this, how you do that, and all that, this and that. And then there's where I started playing more with the seniors. Yeah. So that's how I...
To get exposure and not just wait until, after school is done,
Yeah,
then you go,
correct.
Because I don't think, like, we've had conversations like this before. Music, as a career, it's not a linear path.
Correct.
You have to start even before you're in school, start exposing yourself when you know that this is what you want to do, right?
It's a process.
It is a process.
It's a long process. I mean, different people have different capability of learning something, right? It's up to you. But for me, it was a long process, and I've been loving it. So anyone can actually do it.
So one more question about your background. So what do your parents say when you're like, I want to do music?
Correct. I remember my dad, because I remember he asked me, so after you leave school, what do you want to do? I want to do music. Music? Okay. Same thing lah. How? Can earn money? I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. But this is my passion, I wanted to do. And he actually, at one point, he was like, okay, started giving me options. I think you should do this lah. I think you should do that lah.
Things outside of music?
Things outside of music. Like,
just to have a plan B,
correct.
plan C.
I think you should venture into, what is this? Broadcasting. I was like, bro, mass comm, exactly. Mass comm. So mass for me lah, but yeah. But yeah, so I was like, it's all like, like, okay, but I'll try. I can't guarantee you, but I'll try, And then he was like, okay, why not you do Form 6 first? Okay.
Did you actually do Form 6?
I did. Yeah. So I did Form 6. I finished my Form 6. And then after that, I told him, okay, look, Pa, this is what I've decided. I want to go to Aswara and do music. And then he was like, you sure? You already did Form 6, you should go uni and stuff and all that. Do law. Do law.
Or engineering. Or accounting.
Do law. I mean, sorry on behalf of Indian parent. It's a typical thing, either law, engineer, doctor. So it's like, man, okay lah, because I did art stream, so doctor out lah, right? So then I almost did law. Actually, I almost did law. I almost agreed to him and said, okay, you know what, I'll do law. No. Then
why were you?
Because I wanted to make him happy lah. Yeah, right. But then after a while, then I told myself, no, look, it's my time. I need to come up and do something with what I am passionate about, and that is music. So that's why I told him, okay, look, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. So then,
whether you make it or you break it, it's your choice.
It's my choice, right? It's my
you
choice.
decide
Correct.
how much time and effort you put in it because it's something. It's your passion, right?
Exactly. So it's my experience and it's my life. How I bring myself up, and it's what I want to do. Then after a while, then I started, college and studying and stuff. Then started performing outside, recitals and stuff. Then he kind of see that, okay, I really like this. That my son really actually loved doing music. And then he started supporting me from then on. Aww. Yeah, so he's been to some of my shows lah. So yeah. So.
Okay. All right, so now let's get into a bit of because we have a few different temas here that we interlaced a little bit
interlace.
already. Yeah. So, who are some of the people who inspired you to play bass?
Right. Like I said just earlier, when I first started playing, I started playing in church. So I remember this guy, tall man, Victor, not Wooten, huh? Yeah. So
You saw him in the States
yeah, I saw
also.
him when I was in the States. Yeah. So yeah, and I remember him playing with 5-string. I was like, wow, like what is that? And he was just doing all this cool stuff on the bass. I'm like, wow, man, this is so good. It sounds good, you know. I didn't know a bass can actually do that. I like started learning lah and all that. That is one. And obviously when YouTube existed, right? YouTube existed at that time. Then I started watching lah,
Going
all
down
day,
the bass rabbit hole.
going down the bass rabbit hole and started and then people been telling me, hey, you should check out this guy, you should check out this guy, you should check out this bassist and blah blah blah. And I remember the first bass player that I actually saw on video was Tetsuo Sakurai from Cassiopeia. Yeah, it's like crazy lah. And that time
Blow
I
your
remember,
mind.
yeah, I remember that video was in the 80s, I think. Yeah. So and he was using a 4-string bass and it was a headless. Yeah, and I was like, wow, what is this? Why got no
How to tune?
how to tune, like where do you tune this? And he was whacking lah, because he's a slap guy lah, he's really whacking. Like wow, like so good, like. So I started listening to that. Sakurai was one of them. And obviously my main inspiration is Victor Wooten lah. Yeah, so then I started watching. Then I scroll. YouTube, you have options, right? That you watch one and then suddenly then I was like,
Recommendations.
recommendations and all that.
Yeah.
Then I saw this black guy. I was like, wow, what is this? Wow, the bass also looks good. Okay lah, click.
Ta-da! Bass.
And then after that, then he started playing this.
What do we call those things? All of these. Yeah.
These are called harmonics. Yeah. Those kind of stuff. I was like, wow, what is that?
And you wanted to do it.
And I wanted to do it, so passion, to learn. So I was like, what the hell? Then I was like, okay, Victor, sorry, mind my language, boy, kids. Hell is okay. Yeah, so, wow, man, Victor Wooten started doing that. And I'm like, wow, what is that? What is that? And started searching more. It drove me to actually like venture into a lot of things. And then, and then suddenly, then he would whack. He would do something like,
It sounds cool, but I have no idea what you're doing.
Exactly. Exactly. When I first saw it, I was like, what is he doing? Only 2 hands, lah. But sounds big. Sounds something like that. What a drummer would do. What another harmonic instrument like a guitar or another instrument that can actually play in that song, So it's like, wow, you don't need a drummer lah, dey.
No
you
offense,
one man show
Jared.
lah, No, but this workshop I need him lah. Yeah.
So let's get into grooves and techniques part of this workshop, right? And guys, feel free to shout and be like, hey, what is Gideon doing? You need to ask a question. So let's open this up a little bit.
And we have a mic here, so don't worry, guys.
Yes,
Can hear you.
beautiful Hazel is there.
Yeah.
All right, so just yell for her. All right, so what I've observed so far from your playing is you're not just melodious, like you don't just play melody, but you are quite a percussive bass player. So like what is the first song called just now?
It's called Mr. Pink by Level 42. check out this band, Level 42. They're amazing. Yeah.
So there's a lot of like what you said, like I feel like you when you were watching Victor Wooten, back then I was like, how is this just two instruments, but it sounded like there's like a guitar and there's a bass going on, but it's just two of you guys, right? So and you've really opened my mind to this concept of bass is not just root note, da 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 da, that kind of thing, but it can also be percussive. Yeah, so can you share and explain some of the grooves and techniques that you've done in the song and more?
Yeah. Okay. So before going into techniques and stuff, right? We all know that the basic stuff of playing bass is just grooving, and less is more. If let's say if it's a song that goes like like, and then at least the drummer come in, yeah. How can you groove on one single note? Right? It's not more towards. Back to basic, So before learning technical stuff and all that, always remember your root as a bass player. Right?
So actually, what is the role of a bass player?
Yeah, a role of a bass player is basically, I would use this term is to hug the whole band. Right, imagine a cake, right? Imagine a cake. So the whole cake, right? The bass and all that, it's the foundation. So the bass and the drums hold the whole thing. All right. What is on the cake are the icings and all that, which are the other stuff. So you want to have a good base of a cake, you need to be that. All right. So grooving is very important. So imagine you are hugging the whole band, right? So that
You're
is
keeping the whole
you're
band
keeping,
together.
You are keeping, yes, correct, right? It's like a chugging train, So you just have to keep it that way. Yeah. So a bassist and a drummer needs to really lock. Yeah. So groove comes in even more when you have a good drummer that follows. All right. So in anything you do, in any style, in any groove that you do, it's always this two best friends right? So so that is the groove part. Techniques. So so groove can be a simple thing and all that, but techniques wise, looking back at the first song that we did, right? So I actually, I'm more of a slap guy, right? So Mark King would have done a lot of thumping, like very.
Even
so
the face also like that.
So I want to be comfortable with what I'm playing, but at the same time sound almost the same. I wouldn't say, because at the end of the day, every musician is different in terms of technicality and stuff. You do your thing, I do the thing, but whether it sounds good, it's up to you, right?
Yeah.
So
sorry, can I interject just a little bit? So can we just show the younger ones, the different ways of playing bass. So one, it's just
So the most typical way of playing bass is basically, if you're right-handed, so you just pick, all right? And then your left hand obviously will play the note right? So there are many ways of playing. One of it is the most typical one, which is this, which I just showed you. The other one is basically, if you have the bass and you gotta slap the bass right? This kind of stuff. So you have the thumping, where you use your thumb, and you can either use the typical way is basically your thumb and your index finger to pluck, right? So, right? This kind of stuff. And Another way of playing it, which I'm yet to like still master
Yeah.
is that it's a Gary Willis technique, where you basically like you kind of place your hand here and you go. Yeah, so I use a lot of four string. Yeah. So I use thumb, index, middle, and the third finger, the ring finger, right? Yeah. So often you can actually use to play a chord, right? Right. Those kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah. So different kind of ways,
And what makes you choose different kinds of playing styles?
Well, I just want to have different tone of it because different style of playing have different kind of tone whenever you use it. Like there's one tone where like if you play like a dampening where you actually mute, right? Which I will show you later when we're gonna do a song later on. So yeah, so it's a different tone, right? Whilst you're picking, see, right? And obviously slap lah. Yeah, so basically different tones lah. Yeah.
So any more examples of from?
So I've been doing this technique, like I said just now, marking whatever, just right. So in order to deliver that song, I tried something new. Instead of playing like the typical bass slap where you just and then you pop with your index on the octave, right? That's the most basic thing, right? So what I did is that I shift from octave to one single string. So right? So I do thumb and pluck on the same string, right? So you will have this effect of right? So it has that extra bite when you actually pop the low
so
string.
satisfying.
Yeah, right, rather than do. Right? So I would practice at home. I will make it musical. When you have techniques, you've already learned techniques, now it's time to make music out of it. It's all about making music.
Application.
Yes, application and stuff. So you can actually go back to basic, you can actually go back to your scales. You can actually do major scale. Sorry. Alright? And you can actually do thirds. Yeah. So to have that bite, to have that effect, I use it a lot on the lower side, the lower resistance, which is the E lah. So there's one part of the song where I did. There's one part. It sounds like. Right, those kind of stuff. So I try to use that in this song. I So I think I've actually heard this before, but yeah. So I try to like maneuver it to change it. So then I will try different variation of different notes. Even because a lot of slap bass requires the E, right? Like a lot of open string. So I try to adapt it on other notes which requires me to play a lot of other notes besides the open string, so I can actually
of the is it the bridge section of Michael Jackson's?
Oh,
what was it?
Oh no, I don't remember. I don't remember.
Oh no, black or white.
Is it?
Is it no? Oh, sorry. Anyways.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, can. Oh, yeah.
I've never seen you do it, so
Yeah, correct. So what I do is like what I said. So I use the normal slap technique, but I do that on a single string, right? So let me start off on E. Okay, right. So I go half time, So I do. So like I would actually try and do a typical bass groove where. All right. So I go thumb and then mute and then pluck. So. Right? So thumb, mute, and then pop. So that is the basic thing. Thumb, mute, pop. Alright? So thumb, mute, pop, and then you thumb. So the muting part, right, I use my left hand to accommodate with my right hand as well. So when it's basically like those other slap technique where you actually thumb and then you just use your left hand and your right hand to mute at the same time. Right? So same thing with your index. Right? So this is basically I'm muting. I'm using my left hand to mute. Right? So yeah, so it has that bite when you actually pluck, right? 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 So you can actually go on. Right? So you want to have that same same dynamics, same volume, same dynamics when you thumb and pluck, right? Because both of them are the same, different, can have different dynamics to it, right? So you would want to control, like how you thumb and then, right? So I would try and do it like octaves of it, like on the lower resistance. So if it's open E, I'll pluck on the E, the 7th fret of your A string, right? So yeah, see? Basically, the whole technique, right? It's without any notes, it's gonna sound like this. Okay. So on single string, you go. So you want to go down. Yeah, all on single string, right? So all on single string. Yeah. Right? So then once you capture that, you can actually make it musical. You can actually do a lot of things on it. It's such a honestly, it's such a simple technique. All right, just change the whole thing to a single string.
But it sounds so fancy.
Yeah, when you add notes to it, it sounds. Whew. Yeah, right. So that is the basic thing that I actually do, lah. Right. Yeah. So I can do exercise like. So the technique is still there. Then with with the help of my left hand to do the muting lah, and also a little bit of percussion. So another thing that I also do on my left hand is basically thumb and then left hand and then pluck. Also can be done. Yeah. Yeah.
So cool. All right. Do you guys have any questions? No? Otherwise, we shall move on, and then we're going to come back to audience questions again, all right, after this. All right, so 2 more from me before we move on to the sponsors and equipments and things like that, right? All right, so how do we make the bass sound musical? What are some of the elements to help? Because like we said, the most common and the most basic preconception of a bass is just to hold it down, root note, right? So what are some of the added elements that can enhance the bass more than just
playing?
Yes. Yeah.
For me, my experience, like what I would normally do is I listen to songs. So it can be anything. You don't have to, well, I mean, for me, because I started just listening to bass stuff, right? And what if you listen to other things like another instrument song, like a saxophone, or a piano song, or a guitar song, or even with vocals? Because for me, like what inspired me to do whatever lines and stuff and all that, yeah, and listening to songs that don't really, listening to a lot of melodies, yeah, listening to a lot of melodies, and also looking back at your scales and stuff, right? Yeah, we all know that you can actually do, right? So what if you make it musical? You start somewhere in that box. It's still in the case, the scale. Right? So I listen to a lot of melodies that I can actually create. So for me, like I listen to music, like you know, like especially vocalists, especially singers, like you know, whenever like singers sing a certain line, like oh, it's like, wow, okay, and try, you know.
So you translate different instruments.
Yes, I translate different instruments into my playing. Yeah.
Into your own instrument.
Into my own instrument.
Right,
yeah.
right. And for those of you who don't know, Gideon can sing very, very well as well. So I don't know why you would.
Yeah, you are encouraging.
All right, so
Give an example. Yeah.
sing a bit.
No. Bass workshop.
All right, so one more from me, and then we're gonna.
Yeah.
So this is my question lah, and then let me know if you want to share anything else. So I'm very curious. Like in this setting, it's just 2 of you. So what does the bass play in this role? You know, and then of course there's trio. There's 4 people. 4 piece.
4 piece.
And then there's like 5 piece, and then big band, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So how do you mold yourself into different kinds of settings and different kinds of settings, and how do you know what is required of you in different bands?
I see. Yeah. Okay, so like for us right now, bass and drums, it's important to actually lay down your groove, like simple basic groove, you know, like if you can cover other things, you know, if you have the capability of covering a lot of things, then you can do it. But at the end of the day, right, you still have to stick to your role, which is a bass player. Like, for example, you would go to a jazz club and you would see a double bass player were to play something. You know, he's not going to go, you know, like we have Master Don here on the double bass, you know. Yeah, serious. Honestly, I learn a lot from Don. Yeah. So whenever I watch them play, even with such a small setup, right? You don't need to play a lot of things. you know, at the end of the day, right, the notes that you play on the bass will have a story for itself. And you know where you're going. And then you add a different flavor, which is the piano and stuff, right? But always think of laying down the basic groove, very, very simple. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Less is more.
Less is more. Correct. That's the phrase. Less is more. Yeah. Then you can do other things. And like for, let's say for example, like if we were to play for a vocalist, right? Alamak.
They
Sorry,
want you
kids.
they want you to sing.
Yeah. Yeah. So like let's say if you were to play for a vocalist or any instrumentalist, it's always important to keep your groove. You don't want to overshadow. You know.
Yeah.
So if the song is like
Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, just groove. Yeah.
the groove will speak by itself. You don't need to do crazy stuff. You know? You don't need to do that, you know. You can, but that's the thing.
Context.
That's another thing. You can do something, but there's always place and time for it. You know, not all the time. You know, you don't have to do all that.
Hashtag extra.
Extra, exactly. Extra, you don't need.
Right.
Go basic, simple. You want to capture the feeling of the audience. You, instead of, you know, you would see people just like, oh.
The
just
moment they
grooving,
start moving their heads.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you want
have
that. You want that. You know? And then, yeah. There is where they stop. And there is where they will like just listen. You know, listening is important, but at the end of the day, you want to capture that feeling of people grooving. And that is the beauty of bass playing, you know. And space and time. It's always important to, space is also part of music. Like what I did earlier, too many things going on, you know. And especially if you were to play that, and then a singer sings, or another instrumentalist were to play something, you don't want to overshadow. You have your moment, capture that, but not all the time. Yeah, when it's time for you to do that, you do that. When it's time for you to lay down that simplest groove ever that can actually move people's head, and that's enough. Yeah.
You will have your turn, and when you have your turn, you shine.
Definitely.
Yeah.
When it's time for you to shine, you shine. You know, when it's time for you to like solo and, you know, like whack, that's where you whack. You know, like.
So dynamics and
Dynamics and
knowing,
all, yeah.
I think is this a good summary? So what I'm hearing from you is, you know, just because you know a lot of different kinds of techniques doesn't mean that you have to use it.
Yes.
And when you do use it appropriately,
Yep,
use it at
yep,
the right time,
yep,
right place,
yep,
right context.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So is there any other thing that you would like to add on before we do our song?
Anything from Jared? On a drummer's perspective? Yeah. So we have bass, you know, like I said earlier, bass and drums really need to come ching, right? We need that foundation to make a band work, to make a music work. So let's hear it from Jared. And what's it?
I think essentially every phase as you grow when you play music is wherever you start at a young age, or even if you're in high school or college, you always have a certain level that, okay, I've reached this level. You don't give up because you know that if you give up, you're not going to reach the level. But every level that you go through, there's always going to be a struggle. Just like how you grow up naturally, with or without music, music is just going to make it better. So That's how I grew up. So just sharing.
Yep.
I met Gideon after high school when he was in Aswara. So
Correct. Yeah.
at that time, I think we were at a point in our lives where we've had enough of that struggle. Now it's beyond the Victor Wootens, beyond the Vinny Colaiuta, your Matt Gatska, your Benny Grab. Now it's, after you've learned the technique, now it's time to... So I found, like my yin yang, I'm the yin, he's the yang, you can tell. But truly, I feel like he is my metronome. As much as the drummer is supposed to be the metronome, I rely on him. So, like he said earlier, that connection that he and I have to have, I'm the car engine, he is probably the car, but sometimes he is the car engine, and then sometimes I am the gear or the clutch or whatever. So, every music has different roles. Every genre has different roles. Don is a double bassist. He plays jazz. I take all my jazz knowledge from him.
Yeah.
He leads the pack for me. So, you know, every if you play pop music, you got to listen to the singer, the musical director, the keyboardist, or whoever the musical director is. So in the case of, or the context of what we were playing earlier, I don't need to play anything more than just 60 notes on a hi-hat, a steady bass drum, and a backbeat on the 2 and 4.
Yeah.
Because he's playing the melody already. There's no one else playing the melody for us. It's him.
Yeah.
So the job and the duty is on him. I don't care what key you played in. I don't need to know what key you played in. You can play it in F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, O, P if you want. Yeah, so I think the most important thing is to reach that, the very next level, especially in terms of techniques, is repetition.
Yep.
If you do not repeat what you're doing, you're not going to know 5 months from now, oh, I did this 5 months ago, now I am here. You won't know if you don't struggle through that process. That's the most important thing for me, is the repetition. So yeah. Repetition is key.
Yes.
Jared Cheow, everybody.
And don't worry about the process. I mean, even if it takes a while, it's gonna be worth. It's gonna be worthwhile. Oh,
Yes, Don.
Mr. Don. Yeah.
Question.
Mummy.
Hi, my name is Don.
Hi, Don.
Hi, Don.
I'm an alcoholic. Oh no. Okay. Okay, I think
Wrong meeting, Don.
Wrong meeting already.
Okay, now I think because this is a drum and bass workshop, right?
Yeah.
So I think because all of the bass players are all here, I think it's very nice if the two of you can actually explain how you all start gelling together from the very basic first.
Yeah.
So in order then after to explain the groove, so you have to like say for instance converse not through by talking. Say for instance like a drum starts and then how does the bass interacts and then the bass start and then how the drums interact.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So getting into the groove, of course, yeah, bass and drums need to do something, right? So we just played this song. It's a very cool tune actually. We're gonna try and do some subdivisions here and there. Of course, we will do some groove in the beginning, and then we will show you what else you can do, right? So maybe you can start off with a simple groove in the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. So he's playing that, all right? So I'm gonna do something, right? Like Fingtao music, right? Yeah, exactly. See, I am following his kick. That is the most important thing, all right? As a bass player, what you play is what you hear on the kick. So if he's playing like that, I can do that. Or this is what I'm playing on all the downs that he is playing. What if I just do the first beat? 2, 3, 4, 1. See where I'm going? I'm just hitting the downbeat on the first beat, and he's just continuing. I don't do. All right. I'm just basic thing. Whatever that he's playing on the kick. Very basic. Whatever the kick does, you follow. Alright? And then, if I were to come up with, you can actually do, alright? Start off on one single note. You don't need to do a lot of things in order to gel a drummer. You just need to follow what he does on the kick. So now, what I'm doing is all I'm just prolonging all my notes. But I'm still hitting the kick pattern. Right? What if I do this? I'm shortening my first note. Yeah, and then again. Right? He's gonna play the same pattern. Only as a bass player, you can come up with the groove in a certain speed and what you can do. Right? Right? Again. Right? I don't need to do so much. It's just short and long notes. Right? And then I can come up with different variation. Alright. Last one. See? So, yeah, thank you. So, always start off on a single note before doing something. I mean, before going crazy on the bass, always start on a single note. So you have different patterns that you learn. Go back basic and just do it on a single note and do what we just did, like, you know, and try different variations of patterns. So you have different kind of patterns. You can actually do like millions of patterns that you can find in the world, but try to add that on a single note, right? So you have, like what I did, short notes and long notes, and that's the difference.
But all the while keeping...
Yeah, just keeping that foundation. The drummer can play that, you know, drummer can play that, but we as a bass, us as a bass player, we are covering notes and also the rhythm sense. Yeah. So yeah.
Melody and percussion at the same time.
Yeah,
right.
so, you know, because it's also part of a rhythm sense where, you know, you have that short note and long notes and all that, the articulations. Yeah. Yeah. So always start basic. To gel a bassist and a drummer just need to gel in the most basic form. What the drummer is doing, just follow. Yeah. Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Yeah.
Keep it consistent.
Yep.
And then once you have the foundation there, then we can build on top of it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else that you would want to share before we move on?
Yeah, actually, we can actually share subdivisions. Like, we just do a short groove. Yep. All right. So he's going to start something, and I'm just going to show you something. All right. See? So there's a displacement there. Yep. Bum, bum, bum. Right? There you go. Right? So now he's doing half time. But I'm still keeping. Alright? Then you can go crazy. So what does that tell you? So as a bass player, it's very important to keep that. If you have a certain pattern to play, keep that. Like what he said, sometimes, you rely a metronome, that. So you can be the metronome. You can have that sense of rhythm. Just hold it down. Like I've played with a lot of drummers, like with him and with John, Thomas and stuff and all that. Wow, these guys can actually go crazy. Suddenly solo time, you lose the one, So it's always important to keep that one. So you as a bass player must always go back to that foundation of your grounding notes. Yeah. Right. So like what I did just now, I'm keeping it. I don't actually go. I let him do. Then let him come back. Let him come back to that basic groove. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So before I think we have one song to do, right? And then we have a product promotional speech that you guys are going to share with the audience, what equipment you guys are using and things like that. So, and then we shall open it up for Q&A. You guys doing okay? Yeah? All right. So we're going to play one song for you guys, and then we can ask questions, okay? All right. Ready?
And we're going to feature Joe on vocals. All right. Okay.
Your mind at any time. I was set on you. I was set on you. Set on you. Set on you. I was set on you. Set on you. Set on you. I was set on you. Set on you. Set on you. I was set on you. Set on you. Maybe you were the one for me. What were we supposed to do? Maybe, do I ever cross your mind at any time? I was set on you. Heart was set on you, set on you, set on you. I was set on you, set on you, set on you. I was set on you, set on you, set on you. I was set on you. Young love, nice kid, no love, sidekick, but my heart wasn't ready for it. I rewind the hands of time. I would want to try things again. Young love, nice kid, no love, sidekick, but my heart wasn't ready for it. I realized the hands of time. I would want to try things again. Gideon Yogan on bass, everybody.
Would like to call Tim to come up and play. Come. Come on, man.
Timothy, everybody. Is he a student? Your friend. Oh, wow. Okay, best friend. All right, shall we end the song? I was set on you, set on you, set on you. I was set on you, set on you, set on you. I was set on you, set on you, set on you. I was set on you, set on you, set on you. All right. Thank you so much, Timothy, for joining the fun. Okay. All right, so this part I'll leave it to you guys. Feel free to talk about, the equipments that you're using, the amp and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
All right.
Right. Thank you, Joe. So what you're looking at right now, it's I'm using a Fender American Pro Jazz, Pro 2, Professional 2 Jazz. It's the latest edition of the Fender. Very easy configuration, actually. It uses, two pickups, normal pickups. And you have 3 configuration. One is the tone, right? And you have the middle one here, which is the front the back pickup. And then the last one, which you have the front pickup. So I'm just gonna demonstrate different tone that you can actually use it. So now I am using only the back pickup and trying to off my my tone. So it sounds very. Right? Right, so if we bring up my tone. Yeah. It sounds very nasal. Right. If I bring up my front pickup, so what I normally do is with this kind of configuration, I'll bring down a little bit of my tone. So it sounds like this. Yeah, so it's very slap kind of configuration. So yeah, so this is the 4-string, very basic but yet powerful. And what you've just experienced is the 5-string, what Timothy was using. Hold on, to bass chop. Almost the same thing, just a little bit extra stuff because it has the active and passive configuration. I'm just gonna go direct. Yep. So this one is active and also has passive mode. Volume, pan, which is your pickups, and bass, treble, mid, and also your passive tone, right? So now it's at active, and it sounds like this. It's the same thing what Tim was using earlier, right? So I'm just going to pan this to my front pickup, my back pickup. So it sounds very like nyaring. Right? So, and passive cuts out most of your preamp. So it sounds a bit lighter. Then you got to choose. Yep. So passive brings down a little bit of your preamp. If you want to boost it, right? So it has that growl. So Fender is actually made. Fender basses are actually very growl kind of tone. Yeah. So very, very vague, brief. A very like short briefing on what a bass can actually do, Fender especially. And then also the Aguilar really goes well with any kind of bass. You know, it's powerful. This is the 500 watt 2x12. Yeah, so 2x12 speakers. And you also have the famous tone hammer, which is only 350 watt, but it sounds so big, and it's very light. It's very light, right? Yep. So that's all on the bass side. So anything later on when I mean after workshop or even during Q&A and all that, you can ask questions. And after the workshop, you guys can actually come up and try. All right?
All right, so I think now we are open for Q&A. Do you guys have any questions for Mr. Gideon Yogan or Mr. Jared Cheow?
Do you want to explain?
Yes. Right there. I think we have.
Oh, okay. Question. Yeah.
All right.
Hello, hello.
Yeah.
What I noticed is that the 5-string has an active pickup,
Yep.
active mode. Can you reach the same tone as the 4-string?
This one sounds bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, because it has active, right? That is more like passive.
Okay, but let's
Yeah.
say you turn off the active pickups.
Mm.
Can it still reach the same warmth as that
You
one?
can, but you just need to configure on the amp side because you know it brings down all the preamp.
I see.
Yeah, so you got to do a lot of adjustment in order to fit that.
Okay.
Yeah. Not
Okay.
not in terms on the bass, but also on the amp. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else? Yes.
Hi, I would like to ask you the setting of the bass.
Mm.
Okay. What type of the string that you recommended, especially for the slap? Because I know Mark King using a 35.
Yeah, very thin.
Yeah, and then the normally is like 4-string, maybe number
40 to 45 lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is your recommended? And then my second question is about, I believe that for my experience play bass, actually the setting is very important for me.
Mm.
Because if you know, the bass cell outside there is a more to high action.
Yeah.
And so I believe that we had to go to low action that is easy to slap. So which part that low action is maybe for the neck or for the bridge? That's my question.
Okay, I'll answer the first question first.
Okay.
Right? So what type of strings, right?
The numbers of
Okay. Well, the most common one that most of us use is 45, right? 45 is the most common one. Um, for me, I personally use 45, right? Because I like that low end and also that bite. You can also have it on the 30s, right? Or even 40. But at the end of the day, it's your own preference. Like for me, I mean, I would recommend 45 lah. I would recommend 45. You still have that bite. Yeah. You want that low ends to come out, and 45 is like the main thing. You're asking about setting up as well? Is setting up as well. So setup, okay, base setup, it depends on what you want. Like for me, I like to have not too close, not too far out, just nice. Like when you can actually be comfortable with your picking without stressing so much on your left hand. See, which I don't have to use a lot of strength. All right. Some basses do have very high action, which is okay, you know, because it's good to actually practice high action basses. Then when you actually then when you go back, and then when you come to that ideal action, it's going to be very easy for you. But obviously your right hand picking also will be different because you know you're used to picking very hard, and then suddenly your action very near, kan? Then suddenly you also have the same picking. It doesn't sound. It sounds more like. Right? So you want to. Yeah. So it depends on your settings actually. Yeah.
All
Did I
right.
answer that question?
I think we have one more time for one more question.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
No lah, huh? Yes. Sir. Those guys are waiting to hang any.
Lepak and everything.
But yes, sir. Hazel, do we have the mic there? Yes.
For someone who's just beginning, you talk about the different right hand muting techniques. What's the best? What works for different?
Oh, okay. Yeah. The most basic thing to do is to actually use your thumb to actually mute other strings. So, like, I mean, your question is like a normal picking, right? So, sorry? Oh, damping. Okay. Yeah. So damping is basically like we call it the palm muting. So you use this part of your palm, right, to actually mute. Not all of it, then you can't actually hear the note. So you just nice to actually just right out of your bridge, and then you have that. Okay, instead of sounds different, then you just mute a little bit here. You just need to get that sweet spot. What you can do is you can actually just right, and then you just. Always go basic and always use your thumb lah. Okay, fingerstyle muting as well, right? So fingerstyle muting, I use a lot of these two to actually do a lot of dampening on different string, different finger. So if I were to do on middle finger, I just mute on first finger. Another thing that you can actually do, which a lot of us do, is basically using your thumb. You notice that whenever I play, I always land my thumb on, I mean, I'm using a 5-string. So, yeah. So I land my thumb on the string above where I'm picking. So that I actually don't have that effect of having other open string sound. Like whenever I play a note, so it's gonna sound really, right? So what if I mute, and then same thing, go down when you want to pick on the A string, and then you just let your thumb on the E string. So it sounds clean, because the goal is to actually make your bass playing cleaner. You don't because you're using a lot of low ends, kan? So you don't want to have that extra. So you want to, yeah, or you can actually use your thumb instead of landing on this string. You can just use the side of your thumb here, and then just also can, and then you go down.
Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Before we go, I think I have a quick announcement. So, Major Music is also giving out free trial lessons with our very own Gideon Yogan right here. So, if you guys are interested, please reach out to Izora or Hazel. Sign up. Leave your details, and Major Music will reach out to you guys for a free trial lesson with Gideon. So before we end today's session, I would like to thank our sponsors once again. We have, of course, Major Music, the organizer of this event, for this whole thing that you see, from the conception of the idea, from hiring the teachers, from the sound, lights, cameras, everything, live stream as well. So if you like what you see, and if you think that other people can learn from this session, do share it with your friends and your family. And of course, Sweetie Malaysia for the equipments that I will not pronounce because I will butcher the names lah. Huh? So Sweetie Malaysia, they sponsored equipments for today, and of course Bistro Monologue as well for the wonderful venue that you're here, comfortable with AC, drinks, and everything. And my name is Joe, and I'm the only one from Music Nation today. So thank you all so much for coming in person. Thank you all. I learned a lot today. So. Besides Jeffrey, I will take lessons from you.
All right, yes, can.
All right, thank you all so much. If you guys want to hang, feel free to do so, but with SOP in place. Thank you all for tuning online, for tuning in online, and we will see you guys next time. All right?
Oh, also guys, sorry, before we leave, if you guys want to purchase any of these instruments and stuff, you can log on to Major Music's website. Okay, cool. Right.
Okay, and for you itchy bassists there, you can try these.
Now lah.
All right.
I'm so sorry, guys, who are watching live stream. You know, live audience can actually try the basses. So.
But they can buy online.
But they can
with
buy online.
one click.
Yes, with one click away. So yeah. All right, guys.
Have a good one. Bye bye.